Morning, Daniel. I want to take a moment here and review the lesson we had yesterday. Take a look at the swing here. This is almost from the very beginning of where we started at yesterday before the clouds rolled in and the skies had unleashed upon us. But as we take a look here, one of the first things we obviously talked about was your stance here. And I've got a great picture of you both head on and down the line. Now, when we look at down the line here, you can clearly see that your hunch here or your rear end is clearly out over your heels. You know, and I referenced your baseball knowledge and said you probably standing on the baseball field, you wouldn't be standing out, you know, at shortstop or third base, waiting for a ball which is waiting back on your heels, like we see here in this picture. Okay. Second, you see just a little bit of a hunch in your in your back. So then, as you lean over, it kind of forces that weight and almost basically forces the weight back to your heels in this case. When we see, so as we see yourself here, you know, we also see that the shoulders are open in this case. You know, by the shoulders being open, that will sometimes allow your hands will follow your shoulders, or your arms will follow the direction that your shoulders are on as you swing back and as you swing through to the front of your golf swing. Second, you know, when we look over here to the right-hand side, you can see you look like you're very crowded in this position. You know, and by that, we try to give you a little bit better position back and through as you come back and come through the swing. Now, when we look at this position here, we see that the left knee comes drastically over to the right-hand side, almost touching that of your right knee. So left foot comes up off the ground just in order to get the full shoulder turned back and get the hands to parallel. And not in all cases do we need to go back to parallel in this case. Now, when we look on the left-hand side, what we see is, as you take the club back, and we'll show you right here, as you go back, right about here, you can see that you get a lot of hands, and you see that, you know, you're trying to get the shoulders turned back, but in case what you're actually doing is the hands are initially taking the club back, take the club up, and you can see how the hands intersect between the head and the right shoulder. So because of that, this right arm is in a very dominant position as you take the club back, so you can see how the hands stay up, and they almost stay right in between both the shoulder and the head. So you get this position, very dominant position, so then now the hands must come down as you try to bring the hands down, bring them back into play. This one was a little bit of a heavy shot. Now, you said you tend to do that from time to time. Now, what happens in this case, because as the hands come down and come through, you can see as the hands come down, you see your hips get to right the point of impact, and your hips stop turning through. So as the hips stop turning through, that right hip coming to the left-hand side, transferring that weight properly, well, because of that, the club buries down in the ground, the right hand buries it down, and then we try to get through and you try to transfer that weight to the left-hand side. Now you can see here, this shot on the left-hand side, we did make him better contact, a little bit better positioning. You can see the make contact. Dirt comes up right after you make contact with the ball, but you can also see a little drive of the right knee in this case, and vice versa, the drive of the right hip. So that shows you that as you turn through. So as we see his position, you know, not a bad position, which in turn allows you to have a good contact with the ball, but what leads to sometimes is an inconsistent flight pattern, inconsistent ball flight as you turn back and turn through. So one of the first things we did was talk about your stance. This is about when the rain came in and unleashed on us, so we moved our lesson to the inside now. So as we see your stance here, you can see basically I got the weight a little bit forward. We said, you know, with the 7/8 iron here, you're going to be about 22 inches away. You know, that's kind of just a positioning here from ball to club, but allows this 22 inches away to allow you to have that proper distance away and know that your weight is forward and you're out. The arms are hanging naturally, like we see here, out away from the body. Here, back is a lot straighter, and we see the weight a little more forward, as you said in this case. Now, you know, it's the same case here. You know, what I had you do is I had you stand straight up, I had you lean forward, I had you flex your knees, bringing the weight back to the balls of your feet, and then I had you bend from your waist. You felt your hunch kind of stick out a little bit, and then what happened from there is that the arms then hang naturally from the shoulders in this case. So a little bit more athletic stance, a little bit more of a athletic position, kind of remind you back in your position of waiting for the ball to come out or come to you when you were playing baseball. So from there, that's the one position. Two, we go from there to the ball drill. Now, when we talk about the ball drill, what I want to show you here is pretty much this. You want to keep your hands here, and almost in a case that if you thought of having a line draw straight up to your shoulders in this case, all I had you do and what I want you to have is turning them back with the shoulders. When we look exactly to this case here compared to this case here, we're about the same conditioning or same position of the shoulders. You can see that the shoulders are nowhere near turned as much as they are here in the left hand or right hand photo here, like we see. Big difference here compared to here, night and day. And then all I want you to do from this case is as you turn back with the shoulders, is turn that ball up and over your right shoulder. So as you see that ball turn right up and over your right shoulder, and ensure that the weight is turning back over the right-hand side. Now, at first when you were doing this, this is what you look like. And you kind of see as you turn back to that right-hand side, you can almost see a reverse pivot of your legs and or your weight. You're turning back, but what happens here is you see a lean of the right leg in a sense, and a tilt of the shoulders here, okay? So what I had you do in this case, using the same type of process, we turn back, we turn down through, and we see you drive your way through the shot. Well, I said, you know, maybe get that left foot up off the ground. As you get that left foot off the ground, as you're turning back, try to feel you push off and push that weight back to that right-hand side. Much better difference, especially when we compare the two and show you the two. You know, night and day difference. You can see where the shoulders are turned back behind the golf ball here. Hands are turned up to the top. Much better position where we turn back. And in this case here, a little more aligned. Like the shot a lot better. You know, nice, you know, sitter position as you turn back over. And then all we did, you know, when I drew the other line, is that the right elbow then comes to the side, right hip turns through, driving that weight off that right-hand side going to the left. Much better position, night and day difference, where you kind of see that push off and almost leaning a little too far forward as we come into this case. You can see how it just kind of gets that weight going forward here compared to here. Night and day difference, I think, over the two, but you can see that in a little bit more better position like I'd like to see on the right-hand side. So 2 sets of 20 reps is what I'd like to see in this case. Feel that position back and forth. Now moving forward here as we go forward. And actually, you can kind of see, I'll show you this here. This is kind of that, you know, differences between of where the club was going back. Here, and then I'll take you back here and show you this position here. Sorry. Right there. 2. Like we said, shoulders turn back dramatically more, much better position night and day. So as we do this, this is that repeatable position I'd like to see it time and time again. So when we put a golf club in the hands, no difference here. You know, what I had you do is I put 3 tees down on the ground. You can't see them here. A tee here, and tee here. So ideally, as you go back, shoulders push the club back, we hit the tee. We turn back, get that weight up over that right-hand side. You can see a dramatic amount of difference between just how high your hands are there and where you look here at the same point of where your hands are. Look at the difference. There's your shoulder turn there to shoulder turn here. Great position, great torque, great everything as you turn up. Here, and obviously seeing this position, you know, this is a dramatic amount, but I want you to do this just with the golf club turning back up to the right-hand side. Right elbow comes into the side as you come back down. We feel the transfer of the weight through, and we feel that position down through. So here, big difference, night and day difference as you turn through. Now, no difference here as we look at this, but ideally a huge difference. Take the club back. There's those tees. You hit the first tee going back. Club goes up. Look at the difference right there in your position compared to where we are right here. This is just a clear view of showing you how you turn back, where your arms are, where your hands are in relation to your turn back, more in line with the ball here. You can see how the club is outside the line here on the ball. Big difference night and day. So as we turn up, right elbow then comes to the side. You can see even clearer point here. Look at the position of your right hand, even at this point. Look at that right arm. Here compared to here. Night and day difference here. And obviously we don't necessarily have to turn it all the way up to there. I'd probably much rather see it stay right about there. And then obviously a little bit easier than to get that right elbow back into it. Hands come back down. And you notice that right elbow comes into your side here. Right elbow comes down. Club drops back from the inside. Shallower approach as we turn up and turn through compared to here, down, trying to get back into play and come back through. So ideally 2 sets of 20 reps is what we'd like to see time in and time out. Now, so 2 sets of 20 with the ball, 2 sets of 20 with the club, setting up each time. Once you stand up, set up each time you do it, just going through just as if you were hitting the ball in the golf course. Now, if you have any questions, by all means here, Daniel, I want you to give me a call at 314-724-6539 or shoot me an email at michaelwyattgolf@gmail.com.